My name is Marco Cavazzoni. I am a veterinary doctor, marine biologist, expert of animal nutrition. In my past experience, in my past life, I studied and worked in Italy, Spain, UK, USA, and I work both as a veterinarian in private practice, in zoological park, and then finally, in last 7-8 years, I work as a scientific director of a pet food company, Italian one, that probably you know. Now we start a new journey together with some former colleague and friend, and we decided to be on our own. So in November 2018, we finalized the purchase of the factory of Diusapet, and we start to renew everything from the selection of raw material to the products, of course, marketing, design, etc. We not only own the factory of Kibble, but also a brand of pet care, which is the #1 by time. So the first one pet care of natural origin in Europe, because it's a brand from 1901. When I speak about pet care, you know better than me, I mean shampoo, lotions for cleaning eyes, ears, repellent for insects, and any kind of products that is for the health and well-being of the pet. So we can say that we cure and we treat the pet from inside with the Kibble, and from outside with the pet care brand that now is in restyling. We produce in the most important agricultural region of Europe, which is Pianura Padana, around Milan. We are the China of Europe, so we produce the largest amount of rice. We have almost every kind of raw material surrounding us. And as you will see, our decision, our choice about this is to just select the best. And we are going to see how. Our brands are several. Of course, there is this Neolupus, which is the pet care. But then as Kibble, we have, starting from the, let's say, super premium, traditional one, even if with very specific characteristics, Alleva Equilibrium. Then the Alleva Natural, which is, let's say, a lower, if we can say so, hyper premium. Then Alleva Holistic, which is the real hyper premium. In this moment, one of the best products into the market, and I will explain you why if there is time. Otherwise, it's for a next meeting. And then, of course, Alleva Care, which is in development. I am working with very important professors here in Italy to develop and to study this product, and will be ready soon. So I would like today to introduce you the topic, how we develop the product, starting from a philosophy, because the philosophy is the base, is the root for everything. Philosophy that apply a science, scientific topics. We are scientists. Guys, mute the microphone, please. Mute the microphone. Science. So we are scientists. We based all our nutritional concept on science. We apply a very specific technology, which is made for pet food, and it's not the case for all other players. The technology is applied, of course, on selected ingredients, of which there are also phytonutrients that are very important ingredients, and we will see, to develop a product that is for health and well-being of animals. So, without waiting more, our philosophy. Our philosophy is... Sorry guys, but I have to mute. Okay. Our philosophy is obviously to have in mind that our pets is the ultimate goal for all our actions. This is very important because if we forget this and we start to produce food just for business, we are not having all the things in line for developing a good product. So the philosophy of the Diusapet, and you will see at the end of the presentation that is a cycle, it's that the ultimate goal of all our action is the health of the pet. How to achieve this? We have four very important steps, four very important points of compromise. We compromise with the pets that we carefully select the best raw material. This is very important because it's just impossible to think to make a good product by the label without selecting the good raw materials, and I will show you how. To combine them with respect and competence. This is also something that normally companies, especially companies of small and medium size, cannot do properly. Because maybe you know, maybe not, but to develop pet food, you can do it just by following some written guidelines from institution. But the reality is that pet food is much more complicated. So you need to have a big expertise. You need to have nutritionist people inside the company, not just formulist. Formulist is a person who knows the raw material and can combine them to develop a finished product. Nutritionist is the person who know what are the nutritional needs of each animal, and in this I also include the clinical nutrition. Let's say more fat, less fiber, more protein, this kind of digestibility, blah blah blah, and tell to the formulist how it's the finished product. Then it's due to its role of the formulist to combine the raw material and develop this product. These two figures, they are not always present in the company. Big multinational, they have, of course, they have a very strong scientific department. What they miss, unfortunately, but this is their strategy, is a little bit the quality of raw material. But the small and medium company that maybe are able to select very high quality raw material because this is what they have to point out, very often they don't have a nutritionist inside the team. They only have a formulist. And this makes the reality, makes the market, each product is similar to the one of competitor. There is no one product that is very different than competitors. And this is especially valid in prescription diets. Then, of course, our compromise is to handle the raw material with the gentle technology. You will see that our technology is specifically designed for pet food. And then, of course, to have a segmentation of the portfolio, so to guarantee a solution to every nutritional need. This is because all our efforts are to put the pet in the first place. Speaking about science, we can say that our entire approach is science-based, because this is the unique way to have solid products. And in this, I rejoin the concept of nutritionist. Probably you know there is a little bit of scandal in this moment in last 2-3 years in the market, because many companies were accused, especially in the USA and especially the so-called grain-free boutique, to have developed the dilated cardiomyopathy in dogs that were not predisposed to carency, to lack of taurine. I don't know if you are familiar with the topic, but it's quite a hot topic in the pet food market in last 3 years. Well, if a company possesses a nutritionist inside, know that even if dog has not strict requirement for taurine, especially there are some breeds that they can develop taurine, they can produce taurine starting from other amino acids. Well, if there is a nutritionist inside, he knows that taurine should be added anyway to the pet food of dog in order to be safe, because you don't know to whom this pet food is going to. Formulists and majority of companies, they only read the book of the institution and see that the taurine, it's not a mandatory ingredient. It's not essential ingredient for dogs. And so they just don't put. This is not the way of making science. This is the difference between a company with a nutritionist, where company always put a taurine in dog food, and a company with just a nutritionist that use codes of the institution to develop products. This is a very big difference. So science has very solid base. We obviously know that these animals proceed from carnivores, but and in this sense they need to be fed with protein and fats. But I will not do like all other companies that are very ashamed of using carbohydrates into the kibble. No. This is not the attitude we should keep. We should keep attitude of scientists. Carbohydrates, starch, the complex sugar of the vegetal cells that you find in cereals and in other sources of starch, like potato, peas, and so on. It's extremely digestible to carnivore if well cooked. So of course you need to cook it, but then you can use it in a technical way. You can use starch according to its digestibility. So you can select high glycemic starch like rice, sweet potato, if you want to give digestibility to a product. If you want to develop a gastrointestinal diet, for example, you are using lower digestible starch, so low glycemic index starch, if you want to develop a product for maintenance that control glycemia. So to resume, it's just useless to say, oh mamma mia, we have to put starch into the kibble, because it's just what we have to do, because technologically speaking, the kibble without starch cannot remain in shape, cannot be a kibble. But we can use, scientists can use starch for giving added value to a product. This is also thanks to our cooking technology. We are using a cooking process of steam cook that we will see better later, that enable us to fully cook this starch and so to make them very available, very digestible. In addition, this is able to protect the thermosensitive substance, proteins, vitamins, phytonutrients, and so on, because it is a gentle steaming, gentle cooking. Of course, we also develop our own recipes, our own nutritional concepts. We work with institutions, we work in developing scientific studies, and hopefully in some year time to have a very strong publication. But what it is important is that we also make research. And guys, don't be afraid. I am a very ethic person. So no need to be afraid of doing research in pet food, even with animals, because the research are cruelty-free. I am simply tired of companies that hide themselves behind a logo cruelty-free, saying, no, we are cruelty-free, so we are not making any test on live animals. And I am like, okay, so this means you don't want to invest in research, and you don't want to make even a palatability test or a fecal score or a body condition score with your product. And so then what? You are selling this product to millions and millions of dogs without even knowing how this pet food perform in life. This is not the way to do. Just be aware there are many companies that put cruelty-free logo on the bag and don't do any research, and for them it's an excuse because they don't want to spend on this, because it's very difficult, it's time consuming and also money consuming. So we do two kinds of trials, of course. We do trials on healthy animals, as I said, measuring vital parameters, physiologic parameters, without any, let's say, damage to the animal. And then we work with the universities, with a very strong ethic committee that approve our protocols of investigation. And then we select, the professors in the university select the dogs based on their pathological condition. So they make studiation of the pathology and then apply the protocol. us, Diusapet, pay for the product, pay for the analysis, pay for everything what is related to this clinical trial, and also feed this animal all life long, just to make publication and research, keeping the animal in family condition, without harming in any way, because we are not working with the induction of pathology. Are you familiar with induction of pathology? It is a method that in Europe it's luckily not available anymore, to injure the animal and then solve the problem in, let's say, medical way, in order to test the medical approach. But this is very unethical and also unreliable way of doing science, and I will tell you why. If you want to test, for example, renal kidney insufficiency, what is the protocol for induction of pathology? You anesthetize the animal, you open, you tie the kidney in order to reduce its functionality of a half. You leave a half kidney working and a half kidney not working, and then you test a drug or a protocol or whatever. This is very different than the real pathological condition, because a real kidney that is suffering, that has insufficient functioning, is just reducing homogeneously its function all over the organ. So each single part of the organ is not working properly. While with the induction of pathology, you will have a half of the organ working fully and a half of the organ working at all. So it's very, very different, and the outcome cannot be reliable, cannot be scientifically reliable. This was about science, so do not be afraid to say we make very ethic protocols, we save animals, we pay for them, animals that were already sick, and we cure them. So it's ethic way of doing research. Diusapet technology, the unique way to have healthy food is to select ingredients and to treat them with respect. This is very important, because you can have the best fillet of meat and then you can damage with the too high temperature. So we use the best production technology available. The steam cooking, our extruder is not extruder for making plastic like single screw extruder that is not able to cook very well kibbles and not making starch digestible. Is not extruder for pasta or for cornflakes, the twin screw extruder that burns all the proteins because too strong. Our extruder is from a specialized company that produce extruders for pet food, which cook with steam and then extrude very, very quickly with low temperature. Our proteins, our vitamins are in this way preserved from the thermal treatment. Then of course we use, and that's why we are allowed to put on our bag steam cooked technology. Then we are certified ISO, of course, ISO 9001, of course, and then we have a special certification which is ISO 22000, and it's specific for standardizing of food production. So it is also applicable to human production of food. I would like to show you how it works, our extruder. So we have a conditioner in which we put all protein and all carbohydrates that need to be mixed and cooked with steam, so gentle, 90-100 maximum degrees. Then we have a very quick extrusion with a single screw extruders that only serve to make the kibble, only serve to make the shape of the kibble. This extruder is, as I said, much less stressful than twin screw extruder and single screw extruder that can damage the quality of the ingredient in the case of the twin screw, or can allow a lower digestibility of the starch because not fully cook the single screw extruder. Our extruder is the extruder for pet food. Now guys, before going to the ingredients, I need to stop this sharing because our time on Zoom is limited. So we need to stop and to restart a new conversation, a new presentation, and we will restart with the ingredients.